Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. So today I kind of wanted to show y'all a little bit of the behind the scenes of one of my photo shoots and just talk a little bit about it as you're watching it. So this piece that I'm going to talk about today is called Space Eggs. Oh, I actually have a printed version. Let me show you. So here is a printed copy of it framed. This is an 8x10 of Space Eggs, but I also have a really large version currently hanging up in the DA's office. So if you're in Charlotte, go by and see it, or come by and see me. But huge advocate of not only creating work but also printing it out and framing it, because that is also just a part of the process, and it's really fun to see your works printed. It's like experiencing it again for the first time. So, Space Eggs. This photo shoot came at a time where I felt like I was in a transition period in life. And it was a transition period that was just, it was full of like contentment, and I didn't feel like I was where I was supposed to be, but I didn't feel like bad about my past or anything. I just felt kind of like in limbo. I did have a bit of, in feeling that, I felt kind of fresh, and I felt very new. I felt open to new experiences, and the word that kept playing around in my head was fragile. I felt fragile, but not in like a weak or negative way. I felt fragile in like a, oh, I'm fragile and looking forward to like new opportunities and experiences and just new things. So as I ruminated on the word fragile, I started thinking about things that I visualize in correlation to the word fragile, and what comes to mind for me is an egg. I think that they have like hard outer shells, but they're so easy to crack. Or every time I go to grocery shopping, I always look at the egg carton to make sure there aren't any cracked eggs. Everyone probably does that, but you know, I would watch my mom do that, and now that I'm 28, I do that too. So I think about eggs, and before I captured this photo shoot, I was thinking about space and time and space in relation to like where I was. I kind of felt like, I don't know, I just kind of felt like I was floating through life in a way. And so I had the thought of, oh, wonder what an egg looks and feels like in space. And I thought about creating kind of my visualization of that. And so when I found like some medium-sized land and I saw satellites, I was like, oh, okay. There were satellites from a local news station, and that made me think of space. I said, oh, okay, the things are coming together. Sometimes it really just starts with like a word in my head, and then I'm driving around and I find one thing, and then I find another thing, and then the shoot comes together and it comes alive. So I pulled over and I had a friend with me. I used to do photo shoots and self-portraits and things outside by myself, but I've been harassed a few times, and so now I try to take someone with me if I know I'm going to like just a suspicious area, or if I'm gonna be just like out in the woods by myself. And so I set up my camera and everything, set up my phone, and I really just like frolicked. I knew going into the shoot that I wanted to be floating in some type of way. So I'm just like jumping around, and it's so funny because every time I choose a photo session, like the area that I choose is so high traffic. Cars are just like driving by, and I'm like, I know people are probably like, what in the world is she doing? But I'm so used to doing that at this point that I'm just kind of like, whatever, here's the show. And so I'm just like jumping around and trying to float through the air and just capturing all of my images. And this was definitely one of my funnest shoots to date. It just felt so free and playful, and a lot of my self-portraiture began as a way for me to address my depression and unpack some of the things that was just really weighing on me and feeling really heavy. My self-portraits have been a documentation of just how I've been feeling and processing in my growth. And so to be at a place of like, okay, the past was the past and I'm acknowledging that, but I'm also looking forward to the future. And right now I'm just feeling comfortable with how things are flowing and looking forward to how they're going to continue to flow. That was a really beautiful place for me to be in. And I could acknowledge that in life and through my art and express that. So yes, beautiful, just a beautiful transition, a beautiful space to be in. I had fun editing these photos, so I really don't like to dabble too much in Photoshop. I find it a little overwhelming, but my way of learning and navigating that space has been like, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to clone myself? Do I want to make myself smaller? Do I want to overlay an image? Do I want to remove something? And so I knew for this photo shoot that I wanted to remove like my legs and stuff and really make it look like I was floating. And so that was fun doing that. As I was looking at the image, something still felt off. It still felt kind of fake to me. Of course, like I wouldn't be floating or levitating, but I wanted it to look like I really was. And so that was a moment where I realized the importance of shadows. And if you're trying to make an image where you're floating look realistic, you should add like a shadow around the area where you maybe remove something, or a shadow behind you, or and so that was a really beautiful point in my editing journey, because I was just kind of learning as I was going, and I found some newfound excitement for Photoshop and a little bit of that process. But that's a little bit about this photo shoot. It's entitled Space Eggs, and it's one of my favorite shoots to date. It's really beautiful to create works as a form of self-expression and honestly kind of therapy. Print them, exhibit them, engage about them, and now see them in the spaces around Charlotte. So I'm going to continue to talk about all the things, but thank you for being here. Subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know what you're creating and if you have any questions. And thank you.